Hey everybody. So Spirit was talking to me last night as I was trying to go to sleep. And they were showing me ways of being able to explain the different wavelengths and how you can be in the different wavelengths and be in a fight or flight or be into a deep sleep. But where on these scales can you receive and retrieve information that's important to your daily movement? So up until now, most of the things have been taught that you better be in your theta and your delta in order to correspond with the God source. And we are walking, living, breathing God source energy. And our engine revs on many different wavelengths. So being taught to be in a meditative state, you need to be in a theta state. And in the theta state is where you will get your most valuable information. So it's your meditating, it's your hypnosis states, it's your states where you can allow the gatekeeper, the bouncer, the bodyguard between conscious and subconscious. You allow the bodyguard, the gatekeeper, to take a break and step away and allow you to access both. So as I've studied this a lot over the years and done different types of certification in hypnosis, regression work, just basic in and out of consciousness levels, Spirit's taught me things very differently. And although these courses have been amazing, a lot of them are a little one-sided. So how many times a day during my schedule am I able to dip into, say, a theta? Theta is where you are before you drift off to sleep, where you are when you awaken, where you are when you're just don't really care about anything going on around you. Your body feels very heavy, but yet you're aware of what's going on, but you really would like to drift off to sleep, but you need to stay semi-conscious for whatever reason. And then you dip into delta, which is your sleep states, and you become unconscious of what's happening in your environment. So the way Spirit has been showing me is how can I get into a meditative state on command? Now let's talk about what this is first. This is going to be your beta and the ladder. Okay, this is the ladder, this is the landing, this is the ladder, this is the landing, this is the ladder, this is the landing, and then this is delta, this is your ladder, and that's your landing into deep, 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 I remember nothing, rejuvenation, sleep. Okay, so all the way up here on top of beta, when you're on this, it's hard for me to do this. When you're over here, all the way up top, you are in massive fight or flight. So they were showing me of like being way on top of a rooftop, top of this high ladder, where you can feel the temperatures change and you can feel the winds and the lightning and the rain and the storms and flying debris everywhere. And while you're up there, you're trying to navigate and duck and move, and your hands are super, super tight onto this ladder for survival. Like, don't let me slip, don't let me fall. Incoming, warning, warning, warning. I got so much to do on my list and I need to survive, right? And then as you step down the ladder, you're going into alpha, which is your second chakra, creativity, your sensuality, homemaking, arts and crafts, relaxation things, maybe being out boating, things that just help your body to get into, I want to do something creative, and Maybe that creativity is where you sit in front of a movie and you watch a movie and you're relaxing and you're laughing, you're relaxing and you're crying, you're enjoying things around you, kind of thing. And then when you get down, these steps, you hit this landing, and you're right here at this landing between the bottom step of alpha and the top step of theta, you're in this in and out of consciousness sort of thing. And then the further you go down these steps, the deeper. And then when you kind of come into consciousness, like, oh, I know where I am, and then you fall back out again, you're going deeper into the theta. And then when you get here to this landing, you're at the borderline of out, in, out, okay? So it's here where everyone's teaching you is where you're going to get the most information from your God source team. But the way Spirit has been showing me is if you can get into the commander seat, you can dip into here very quickly out of the fight or flight, beta, gotta do, 10 and 2, to-do lists, etc., maneuvering in and out of crowds, in and out of work, in and out of juggling family, in and out of all kinds of things. Many people can cook and create in the kitchen in a trance, that they're in this area here where they're chop, 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 moving from stove to refrigerator to counter to ingredients to what's the next step when I'm cooking, those kinds of things. And they can be in this little space here where they're still fully aware, but then they're in this creativity space, right? And it's sort of where you're going to get into this place where you're going to allow the gatekeeper, the bouncer, the hall monitor that won't stand in your way from taking a break. You're going to ask them to take a break, so now you can go up and down the hallways of your conscious and your subconscious with more ease and grace and control, and you can command it. You can command it. So every time you go down the ladder and hit a landing, and then you're going to get to the next step of the ladder, going into the next wave, you're going to be able to relax and allow the endorphins and the serotonins. You're allowing the nervous system to get into more of a tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock. And then your physical sensories become more heightened and aware, because now sounds are louder to you as you calm down the rhythm and the hecticness of all the organs and the rushing of the blood. You're slowing all of that down, the heart rate down. You're taking off the adrenal valve and you're putting a cap on it. And you're saying, no, I don't need any adrenaline. No, I don't need to move. I'm fine. I'm safe. I'm aware of my surroundings. And then you dip into feeling every ache and pain of your body. And then all of a sudden when you feel that, you want to jump back up here. And you want to avoid the physical pain. And then maybe while you're through here, memories are coming up and they're painful. And you don't really have the time to devote to it. So you want to click back up here. Got to do 10 and 2. Keep moving. I don't want to think about any of that. So a lot of people really go from up here to maybe a little bit in here to down to here, because they don't want to teeter in here too much. But that's where your valve of awake and asleep, awake and asleep. So you're on this teeter-totter, awake, asleep, awake, asleep. So in regression work, we work on getting you into different levels so that we can ask the gatekeeper to go take a break and let you go in and maneuver through a lot of things in your storage unit and sift through it without any alarm bells going off, without any, what I want to call, crazy avoidance and in denial that there's a lot of stuff in there. So Spirit was showing me last night the storms that were going on the top of Beta. And it's like, whoa, you're looking way down. Safety just, it isn't there. Your ladder is blowing and there's noises clanking and you've got nothing around you to physically make you feel like you're safe and grounded. And so that's when you get up there to that fight, freeze on the very, very tippy top where everything's running, all the juices are going, there's crazy. And even if you're like, I feel pretty good, you've drank caffeine and your whole body's like, Mexican jumping beans in there, ants on fire going, and you think this is alert, this is great, I'm so smart, I can do so much. But at what cost? It's called burnout. That's the cost. It burns out every neuron, every cell, every organ, every system, everything that's been beautifully, harmoniously designed by God's source, burns it out. And then after you physically are burning out, then you're like, you don't even know, your brain starts to suffer. And you're not paying attention to all this inflammation and fires that you've allowed to be created. And you might convince yourself that that's a good thing. So as many of us are turning the corner and saying, no more. I need to take a few times a day to stop, to drop, to sit, to connect with my breath, to give myself a reprieve from the taskmaster. I need to give myself a reprieve from the masters. There's many of them. So I'm going to override my system because I'm in the commander seat. And I'm going to command that I come down off this ladder and I get myself somewhere right about here where I can still function on my to-do list, but I'm doing it a little calmer. Even if I'm moving fast, I've commanded my body to harmonize and to synchronize all of its organs and its pathways of information. Because I'm overriding the craziness. So now I can walk around in my alpha creative state while doing my 10 and 2. And then I can start receiving and retrieving and conversing with my higher self, with my guide team. And now I want to take a stop, drop, sit, reprieve, a little break. And I want to tell my gatekeeper, hey, you go take a break too, because I need to come up and down these hallways with a little more grace and ease. So I'm going to come down here to this landing space where I can't quite afford at this moment to dip much further than this. Because in 15, 20 minutes, I've got to get back up here. But I'm allowing myself to take a complete break and allow everything else to get a little bit of moment's rest. It's like you wouldn't drive your car for 20 hours at 80 miles an hour. You got to stop, you got to refuel, you got to give your engine a little bit of a break. You can't run it that hard. You're going to burn it out. The same thing goes with our physical avatar. So we want to get to ourselves where we're right around in here and we're still getting all the messages we need. And then we may find getting into Delta at night a little more easy because we've stopped the engines, let the gatekeeper take a break up here. So we can get down here, we can receive and retrieve information that's important to our daily survival and thrival. Yeah. So these are the ladders in between. And this is something I've been working with now for a number of years. So when I lay down, I command my body and I see it going down the ladder, hitting a landing space, checking in with my body, going down the ladder again. I can see this. I've done it so much. I can see this when I'm driving. I can see this when I'm in conversation with someone. I can see this during no matter what it is that I'm doing. I can stop and shift my gears and place myself on the ladder where I can be more conducive with the energies around me, and I can calibrate and recalibrate within those energies, and I can recalibrate and calibrate the energies around me so that we have a better fit. That we have a better fit together. So we're creating balance and harmony from our surroundings internally and externally. And it's in those spaces you'll feel the lungs expand. You'll feel the heart like, oh yeah, just coming together. Not racing anymore. You can hear, you can smell, you can see. Things are different. And these are the spaces that we need to be in when we're ingesting food. And when we're listening to conversations, that we don't have all these sensories going all crazy at the same time. We gotta choose our primaries, our secondaries, our third gears, our fourth gears, and then we need to know how to work them. And the ladder was something Spirit was showing me last night that came through, and they were like, well, why don't you try to draw it out like that? Now they know I'm no artist, so it took me 2 times to kind of figure out how to do that. And they said, nope, just make it in a straight line. I was like, oh, that makes sense. So that's where we are. So the next video that I'll do either later today or tomorrow, we will do a meditation, a visual guided meditation. We'll start at that top of beta and we'll work our way down to alpha. And then we'll work our way down as far as we're able to go into alpha, borderlining theta. And if you want to go further into theta, you can. But this is how you're going to walk and dance with the spiritual higher self of you, no matter what you're doing, so that you can literally dialogue and get answers very quickly. And the reason why it's more difficult to get it for yourself than it is others is because you get emotionally all, I need answers. And so we throw up blocks. And then all of a sudden there's multiple bodyguards up there blocking the answers. So if we can train ourselves to sit back and let everybody up there know it's all safe. Go take a break now. I need to go through the hallways of my mind. And I'm commanding my body to join in with me because we are one unit. And you become a master at receiving and retrieving and recycling energy so that you can have a higher way of manifesting by coexisting and co-creating with your holy higher self. Yeah. So there you go, my friends. Please like, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned to the next video.